what should I do between now and November 7th to really optimize my score? Because I'm not seeing, like, based on, I think, how hard I've been working, I'm not seeing the increase that I would have hoped for myself yet. And I still have a month. And I think that it is just because I'm not doing enough application. But what should I do to like really create like optimal environment for that? What should I like mindset, all of these things? Like, I guess what should I do?
Yeah, sure. Well, you already touched on the Socratic review method earlier. So implementing that, writing out your thought process, articulating it for everything that gives you trouble, everything that gives you difficulty. So have you kept a mistake journal of some kind where you're logging those and writing out your own thoughts?
Kind of. I've been vocalizing it to one of my really good friends who has been gracious enough to just listen to me speak. But I've also been writing like in the margins of my practice books and stuff, like putting stars by the things that I know I do poorly so I can come back to those. Like I'm very aware of what question types I generally miss, but maybe a mistake journal by now would help so I can get those more like refined things.
And so that you can go into more depth. I mean, if you can fit all your review in the margins, either you're writing really, really small or you're not writing enough. So I want you to start writing out more. Like if you were tasked with writing explanations for somebody else thoroughly and also walking them through your thought process as you had gone through it, like moment by moment, play by play, it would take some time. You wouldn't be able to do it for all the questions, but maybe pick the toughest ones you encountered and do that in depth.
Okay. And do you recommend, so I've seen the like different examples that you've shown during some of your classes and other videos within the course. Do you recommend using that method, like that layout?
Yeah, and you'll see that the layouts are not always identical, but generally it's about stimulus, question stem, the wrong answer that you considered or chose, then the right answer and what made it seem unappealing. And if you want to do it for multiple choices, you can, just to think about why might someone have chosen this particular answer choice and how were you able to avoid falling into that trap?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea because I know that I've every time I miss almost anything on like LR or even reading comp, I've narrowed it down to two and then I choose the trap answer or I choose
Sure.
the one that is just too extreme or the tone doesn't match or yeah. So that's really, yeah, that's a good idea.
And I want you to think about the mindset of simply deconstructing it, taking it apart piece by piece. And so deconstruct the stimulus, the question stem, if something threw you off like unfamiliar wording, or maybe you forgot the proper perspective from which to view the question, like strengthen versus most strongly supported, or necessary assumption versus sufficient assumption, or forgetting that it was an accept question halfway through. That can happen, right?
Oh, I do that like obscenely
Mhm.
often. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot there. It's not even just the answer choices, although they're obviously really important, but the stimulus and the question stem can often be where the initial misunderstanding came from. And then that creates a ripple effect all the way through solving that question.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So get into the mindset where you're deconstructing this entire exam, getting into that test maker's mindset of how are they laying traps and then how can you avoid falling into those traps. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.